Alright, good morning to all. No? So, today class, I will discuss about your cost, volume, profit analysis. Okay. So, what do you mean here of your cost, volume, profit analysis? So, we are now in this chapter 3. Alright, so when you say about cost, volume, profit analysis, it is the study of the effect of the cost changes, no? And the volume on the company's profit. Meaning to say, class, you have your cost. Ano yung cost? The variable and fixed. Ano yung volume? Your unit sold or unit produced. What is your profit? The profit here is basically your sales minus variable cost is equals to your contribution margin and the CM minus your fixed cost, and you have your net income. All right, very good. That's your CVP analysis. Okay. So what would be the consideration, no? So particularly about the CVP analysis. All right. So when you say about the CVP analysis, it involves consideration of the interrelationship among the following components. So ano yung mga components natin, class? Number one, you have here what you call volume, alright, or activity level. You have here what you call the unit selling price, the variable cost per unit, and the total fixed cost. And the last one is all about the sales mix. Please take note of the variable cost per unit and your total fixed cost. Ano bang sinabi ko last time? When you say about variable cost per unit and total fixed cost, it will remain the same regardless of the activity level. Kaya always given yan, no? The variable cost per unit and your total fixed cost. Because variable cost per unit and total fixed cost will remain the same regardless of the activity level. Okay. We go to these assumptions, no? The following are the assumptions that will underlie each CVP components or applications. Excuse me. Number one, the behavior daw of your cost and revenue should be linear, no, throughout the relevant range of the activity index. Yes. And number two, as discussed also, all costs can be classified as either variable or fixed. And number three, changes in the activity level are the only factors that will affect your cost, meaning class, only the sales. Alright? And number four, all units produced are sold. So, dapat lahat ng napoproduce natin ay ating ibibenta. And the last one is, when more than one type of product is sold, total sales will be a constant sales mix. Now, to class, ha, we will discuss more about sales mix soon. Right? So, we will discuss sales mix soon. Okay. For example, uh, this is also one, no, of the criteria or to know, no, in the CVP analysis application, the term cost includes manufacturing costs plus selling and administrative expenses. Okay, mamaya we will discuss also that one. No? We will use this video company as example. Okay, again, always given is the unit selling price of 500. Always given also is the unit variable cost, meaning class selling price minus variable cost per unit is your contribution margin. Very good. And the last one is about total monthly fixed cost. So, again, may question sa inyo, class. Again, bakit nga always given is your selling price and variable cost per unit and also the monthly fixed cost? Because all of this will remain the same or will remain constant, okay, regardless of the activity level. Not the variable cost total, not the fixed cost per unit. Very good. Next one tayo, class. Next one is all about indicate the meaning of contribution margin. Uh, ano bang ibig sabihin ng contribution margin? Okay. When you say about contribution margin, it can be expressed in terms of total sales minus total variable cost is equals to the CM total. It can be expressed also in terms of per unit by selling price minus variable cost per unit. You have your contribution margin. Also, in terms of the percentage, 100% always is your sales. Variable cost, depende, no? The amount of the variable cost, just divide it by your sales. You have your variable cost ratio. Just minus the two, you have your contribution margin ratio. Okay. Ito class ha, ito yung mga sample niya, no? One of the key relationship in terms of the CVP is your contribution margin. Alright. So, contribution margin is the amount of revenue remaining after deducting your variable cost. Alright. The CM is then available to cover the fixed cost and to contribute for the net income. So, what if 1,000 is their volume? So, just multiply it by the selling price. So, in terms of total, 500,000 minus 300, you have 200,000. Okay? Also, it can be expressed in terms of per unit by just deducting the unit selling price minus our variable cost per unit para makuha natin yung contribution margin per unit. Alright. Also, in terms of percentage, how do we compute for the percentage? 100% always is your sales. Okay? While the variable cost, again, it would depends on the amount. Just divide it by the selling price or the sales. Ito naman is we compute for the CM. 200 divided by 500. The CM here is at 40%. So for sure, 60% is your variable cost. Alright, very good. Next one. Okay. Next one naman is all about your break-even point. Ano bang ibig sabihin class ng break-even point? When you say about break-even point, sales is equals to total cost. What else? Sales is equals to variable cost plus fixed cost. What else? Sales minus total cost is equals to 0. Okay? 4. Sales minus variable cost plus fixed cost is equal to 0. What else? CM minus CM is equals to the fixed cost. Or CM minus fixed cost is equals to 0. Ano ibig sabihin ng break-even? Break-even point is that net income is 0. Very good class. Alright. So, break-even point is a key relationship in the CVP analysis. Is also known as the break-even analysis. Okay? Which is the level of the activity where total revenues equals your total cost, both your fixed and your variable. Since again, you have no net income, 0 is your net income, it involved when the break-even analysis is the objective of it, no? And it is what you call break-even. There's no net income, there's no net loss, meaning nagpagod ka lang. That's the meaning of your break-even analysis. Okay. In terms of the break-even analysis, it can be expressed in terms of, if you're a mathematician, it can be expressed in terms of a mathematical equation, or also using your contribution margin. Mamaya class, I will discuss also about the shortcut and the long cut, no, in terms of the contribution margin. And the last one is about the CVP graph. Okay. The break-even point now can be expressed in either sales in dollars or in sales in units. So, we'll discuss later about that one. Okay. Again, the formula, break-even sales is equals to variable cost plus your fixed cost. Ito class ay very relevant kung ang gagamitin natin ay mathematics. No? Okay. Yan. The break-even point in dollars is found by expressing the variable cost as the percentage of unit selling price. Okay. Yan. So, for example, class, the Vargo percentage of the 60%, 300 divided by 500, you have 60%. And the sales naman is at 500,000 for Vargo to break even. The computation to determine the break even is that X is at 100% is equals to 60%. 60% is the variable cost ratio plus you have 200,000 as your fixed cost. Lagay mo lang sa kabila yung 0.60. Since X is at 100%, 100 minus 60, you have 0.40X is equals to 200,000. Your X here is at 500,000. Ano bang ibig sabihin class nito? Later, we compute first for the per unit naman. So the break-even in units can be computed directly from mathematical equation by using the selling price minus variable cost per unit. Okay, the formula again, break-even sales, which is at selling price X minus 300X, which is the variable cost per unit plus your fixed cost. Magkano yung ating sales? 1,000. Okay. Ano bang ibig sabihin nito class kanina? We have a 500,000 pesos and we have also 1,000 in units. Anong ibig sabihin yan? Meaning to say, if you sell 1,000 units in terms of your units, or binenta mo ng 1,000 units, or if you have 500,000 pesos, sigurado that you have zero net income. Nagpagod ka lang, class. Okay. What would be your objective? Your objective is to sell it or to sell more than 1,000 units or to sell or to have 500,000 pesos. Kasi pag hindi, sigurado ikaw ay break even. Less than 1,000 units or less than naman 500,000, sigurado naman you have a net loss. Very good, class. Okay, at least you can be able to answer that one. No? Okay, next one. Ito naman, class, pwede mo naman gawin through through long cut. How do we compute for the long cut? In computing for our break even, net income is you put here 0. Magkano ba yung fixed cost? The fixed cost is at 200,000. So 0 is your net income, then you have 200,000. Magkano yung CM? Malamang also at 200,000. So 200,000 is at 40% of your sales. Just divide it and the answer here is at 500,000. Same lang yan kanina. Kaya ito ay more on long cut. Yes. Okay? It can also be expressed in terms of formula. Ano yung formula, class? In terms of computing for the break-even based on per unit. The formula here is fixed cost, total, divided by contribution margin per unit. Why? Because you are computing for a per unit. Okay? So, walang problema. Fixed cost divided by CM per unit. And the answer here is also at 1,000. Same lang. Okay. Also, in terms of percentage, alright? Pag-class naman percentage, the formula here is fixed cost divided by contribution margin ratio, which is at 200,000 divided by at 40%. And the answer here is at 500,000. So, same lang kanina that you have a 500,000. So, meaning, class, depende yan sa inyo if you will do mathematics or if you will do long cut or if you can do shortcut. It will depends on you as long as you have the correct answer. Siyempre, that's our main goal. Alright, also, it can be expressed also in terms of your graph. Okay? So, break-even point, using the graphic representation or presentation. The effective way to derive the break-even point is to prepare a break-even graph. Okay, how do we do that? The graph is referred to as a cost volume or the CVP graph. It shows the cost, the volume, and our profit. So, ito yung, class, mga assumptions, no? In terms of the break-even point, number 1. Not assumptions, steps on how you will be able to construct a graph. Number 1, plot the total revenue line starting at the 0 activity level. Okay? Number 2, So number 2, plot the total line fixed cost by line horizontal. And number 3, plot the total cost line starting at the fixed cost line or at 0. Okay, and number 4, determine the break-even point, no, from the intersection of the total cost line. O, para maintindihan class, ito lang naman yan, no, yung graph niya. Alright? So, the CVP graph. Alright? So, paano yung CVP graph? Okay? In this graph, to the right, sales volume, alright? The axis needs to extend to the maximum, alright? Both total revenues and total fixed costs. Okay. So, yan class ang pag-compute natin, no, particularly in terms of it. So, meaning class, if you notice, 500 is your break-even point, no? And then, the unit sales naman is worth 1,000. Okay? So, if you notice, class, the 500 here is your break-even point, and that's the middle of it, no, is your break-even. Yes. Meaning to say, class, if you have 500 as the break-even point, less than 500 is you have a net loss. Kaya nga, di ba, mayroon dito tinatawag na lost area. How about naman in terms of your profit area? So, in terms of your profit area, is about, no, more than 500 and more than 1,000 is you have what you call a profit area. So, you have a profit area. So, yan ang naman class, ang ibig sabihin class ng ating graph. Okay, next one. Next one is all about our MOS, and you have what you call margin of safety. Okay. Define the margin of safety formulas for computing it. Okay. So, MOS or margin of safety is another relationship that may be calculated in terms of your CVP analysis. Okay. So, what is your MOS? No? So, when you say about margin of safety, it is the difference lang between your actual sales and your expected sales. Yan. Yan ang ibig sabihin ng margin of safety. Bakit class? Since the formula is the actual sales and expected sales, alright? Meaning you have your net income. Tama? Yes. How about in terms of the break-even sales? You have zero net income. Very good. So meaning to say, the difference between your actual sales and the break-even sales is the breathing room or the caution that the management has in order to break even. Diba? Yes, class. Yan ang ibig sabihin ng margin of safety. Okay? Yan. In terms of the MOS, it can be expressed in terms of total. So again, the formula here is actual sales minus the break-even sales is equals to the margin of safety in peso. So what if your actual sales is at 750 and the break-even point naman is at 500? Magkano yung margin of safety natin? Very good, 250. Next one naman, it can be expressed in terms of ratio. How do we compute for the ratio? Again, always 100% is our 100% always is our actual sales and expected sales. So just divide lang, no? Margin of safety divided by your actual or expected sales, and you have now your MOS. MOS is at 33%. Okay, very good. Next one. Next one is all about sales required to earn a target profit. Ito naman class ay hindi naman lahat ng bagay ay tayo ay break even. No? Kailangan naman natin magkaroon ng target net income. Okay. So meaning to say, in terms of the planning, we will need to have a target net profit or what you call net income. So management usually set an income objective, no, for our individual product lines. Okay. So, yan class yung ating gagawin, no? Alright. The objective is also known as your target net profit, or what you call target net income. It is expressly or extremely useful to the management, okay? Because it indicates the sales necessary to achieve the specified level of sales, or indicate the sales, okay? The amount of sales necessary to achieve the target net income can be determined from each approaches in computing for our break-even. Again, ano nga yung formula class ng break-even? Fixed cost divided by our CM per unit if it is per units. Yun naman ay in peso if you have a CM percentage. Okay, so that's your target net income. So how do we compute again? Using the mathematics. Now, we know that the break-even point has no profit, but now you have a target profit. The formula now is required sales is equals to the variable cost plus your fixed cost plus your target net income. Yes, no? Required sales may be expressed in either sales in dollars or in sales in units. So, in terms of mathematics, ano yung formula? Sales at 100% is equals to 60% of the variable cost plus your fixed cost of 200,000 plus 120 as your target net profit. So, meaning to say, 0.40x, okay, is equals to 320. How do we compute for the 320? 200 plus 120. So, how much would be the x? X here is at 800,000. Okay? So, our x here is worth 800,000. How about in terms of per unit? 800,000 divided by 500 and you have a 1,600. Ano yung 1,600? That would be your units. Okay? Sorry, mali yan na. It should be 1,600, not in dollars, no? It should be in units. Okay. So, di ba kanina class, if you notice, if you sell 500,000 pesos or in dollars, you have zero net income. Ito naman class, if you sell 1,600 units, you have naman, you have sales, no? How much? Your sales is, your target profit is worth 120,000. Very good class. That's class our objective. Our objective is to sell to have 800,000 pesos and to have or to sell 1,600 units in order for us to break even. Very good. Also, it can be also expressed in terms of formula. So, how do we compute for the formula? Required sales, alright, is equals to the fixed cost plus our target net income divided by our contribution margin per unit. Okay. In terms of the fixed cost and target net income, sorry, mali itong formula na. It should be 320,000 divided by 40%. The answer here is at 800,000. Again, but the formula is correct. Fixed cost plus target net income divided by the CM ratio. Ang ating sales ay at 800,000. Alright. Same also, di ba? In terms of your graph, same yung kanina. Okay? Yung, di ba, yung break-even point at 500 and also at, if I remember right, 1,000. So, more than that is you have a profit. Less than that is you have a net loss. Kaya nga, di ba, ang ating benta na ngayon ay at 800,000. So, meaning lumagpas tayo. And also, our units is now 1,600. Yeah, very good. So, meaning to say, you have a net income already. Okay. So, we go now to this parang mini MBA or to be able for us to explain well, or to explain more about our CVP analysis. Okay. CVP analysis can be used in responding to this change, and the original VCR sales and the cost data for Vargo Video Company are shown below. So you have your unit selling price of 500, unit variable cost of 300, fixed cost naman is 200, and break-even sales is at 500 or at 1,000. So please take note of this class. Case number 1. What if someone or supplier gave you a 10% discount on the selling price, and the variable cost per unit and the fixed cost will remain the same? What will happen to your break-even sales? Malamang, 500 is your previous selling price. It will now become 450. How much now would be your CM? 450 minus 300. You have now 150 as your contribution margin. Okay. Formula. Fixed cost of 200,000 just divided by 150, and the answer is at 1,333 units. Question class. If you have 1,333 units of break-even point, accept or reject? Kanina, please take note you have only 1,000 units to break even. Very good. This case number 1 should be rejected because you have an additional 333 to break even. Diba? O, kanina 1,000 lang. No? Ito yun, diba? 1,000 lang. But now, dumagdag pa ng 333 because of the discount. Reject this case number 1. Case number 2. Management invests in a robotic industry that will significantly lower the amount of direct labor, Direct labor fixed cost will increase naman because you have a robotic preventive maintenance. But the variable cost per unit will decrease by 30%. What will be the effect of this one? Equipment. Malamang fixed costs will increase because of the robotic or preventive maintenance. 200,000 times 30% or just 200,000 times 1.30, and the answer here is at 260. Variable cost per unit naman will decrease from 300 to 210. It will decrease by 30%. Makano na yung break-even natin? Fixed cost of 260, bagong fixed cost, divided by 500 minus 210. So you have 290 as your CM. Makano na yung ating break-even? 900. Question class. Case number 2. Since you have 900 units as your break-even versus 1,000 units in the break-even kanina, accept or reject? Very good class. It is now to be accepted. Why to be accepted? Because you have only, or you will only sell 900 units para magkaroon tayo ng break-even point or to break even. Okay, very good. At least you can be able to understand na. Next one. An increase, case number 3. An increase in the price of the raw materials will increase the unit variable cost of VCRs by an estimated 25 pesos. So meaning class, you will increase the variable cost by 25. Management naman is striving to hold the line on the selling price of the VCRs. So remain the same lang yung ating selling price daw. And plans also to have cost-cutting program that will save 17.5. From 200, you have now 182,500 in terms of your fixed cost. Presently, class, you have 80,000 net income and you sell it at you have a target net income of 80 pero binebenta mo lang at 1.4 VCRs. Okay. So what increase in sales will be needed to maintain the same level of net income? So the variable cost per unit increases malamang at from 300 to 325, but your fixed cost will decrease. Okay? You have 182,500. Because of the change in the variable cost becomes 65%. Okay? So 325 divided by 500. 500 is your selling price. So 0.65 now would be your new variable cost ratio, while 35% naman is the CM ratio. Using this equation to target net income, it requires a calculated to the 750. So again, required sales is X is equals to variable cost at 0.65 plus fixed cost of 182,500 plus 80. Magkano lahat? So, ilagay mo sa kabila yan. 0.35 is your CM. So, X is equals to 750. So, that's your case number 3. How about in terms of per unit? 750 divided by 500 and the answer is at 1.5. Okay. Question. Ngayon class, ang ibibenta na natin ay 1.5 to generate 120. Yung previous is yung previous ay you have a net income of 80 and you will earn a 1,400. Itong bago 1.5 para magkaroon tayo ng 80. Dati 1.4 para magkaroon tayo ng 80. Accept or reject? Very good. It is to be rejected. Kasi kanina, ang bebenta lang natin ay 1,400 VCRs at 80. Ngayon, tumaas pa ng 100. Okay, very good class. At least you can be able to understand this one. Okay, last topic tayo, or last subtopic, is all about the features of the CVP income statement. Alright. In the CVP income statement, it classifies costs and expenses as a variable and fixed. It specifically reports contribution margin in the body of a statement. So it is also known as contribution margin format. And please take note of the last bullet. This format is only for internal management use only. Yes, class. Okay? Only for internal reporting purpose only. Kaya nga, di ba, if you notice, cost of sales, selling price, admin, di ba, they're all part of your FinAct, no, in computing for your net income. But in terms of this CVP format, the cost of sales, selling, and admin are to be classified as variable or fixed. Alright. So the CVP income statement and traditional income statement based on the data are shown side by side. Note that the net income is the same. Yes, if you have 120,000 in your FinAct, you have also 120 naman in your ManAct as your internal business processes, or what you call your contribution margin format. Okay, next one. Also, in terms of traditional statement, it shows your gross profit. Also, you have your contribution margin per unit. Alright. Ito yung class, no? So, traditional versus our income statement or income statement in the CVP. Tignan nyo class, same lang yung formula or same lang yung net income. Okay? Traditional to your CVP. But please take note of your of your cost of sales. It can be classified as variable or fixed. Ganon din naman sa ating selling or admin or SG&A. Okay? So, mini class, you will just classify if it is part of the variable and fixed. So again, thank you very much and hope to see you soon when I will discuss about variable and absorption costing. Again, thank you and see you all. Bye-bye.